Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we'll be comparing a Toyota 4Runner TRD Off-Road Premium with the hybrid to my Land Cruiser First Edition, which has the same exact equipment as a Land Cruiser Premium. And we're going to see if 4Runner Premium is better or Land Cruiser Premium, right? Should you actually pay more money for the Land Cruiser? Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Carl Malone Toyota here in Draper for giving some time with the 4Runner. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering the 4Runner is a hybrid turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed. It puts out 326 horsepower and then 465 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 23 around town, 24 on the highway. Now the Land Cruiser has the same exact powertrain, except fuel economy is a little bit different, 22 around town, 25 on the highway. But yeah, it has the same power output, 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. Before I move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now this is the first time that I feel like a 4Runner's been able to stack up against a Land Cruiser when it comes to looks, and that's because this 4Runner has the darker badges, so you can see the badge here on the grille is darker. It still has the air dam, but you just got to imagine it without the air dam, and it's a good looking vehicle. The Land Cruiser is obviously a lot boxier, but funny enough, the lights are circular to offset the boxiness, including the fog light down below. But yeah, in terms of front end features, they both have tow hooks, they both have fog lights, they both have headlights. So they're very similar, and the approach angles on both of them are actually very similar as well. They're both pretty aggressive. Now from the factory, they both actually have the same size of tire and wheel, 18-inch wheel with a tire that's rated 265 by 70 by 18. My Land Cruiser has aftermarket tires and wheels. I've switched to a true 33 and a 17-inch wheel, so it's a little bit different than stock. Here's your side profile with the Land Cruiser. You can see again the boxiness with the design, and from the factory you can get stuff like rock rails, you can get extra skid plates, you can even get a roof rack. Here's the side profile with the 4Runner. You can see that it's a lot more tapered off, again more angular with the overall design. And then with the 4Runner, you can get the same stuff, rock rails and everything. This one has side steps. You can also get side steps with the Land Cruiser if you want. This one's got crossbars. You can get a roof rack if you want. So accessories are very similar. Now taking a look at the cargo space of the 4Runner here, you can see that it is pretty spacious. The hybrid battery does raise the load floor a bit, which gets in the way of the space, but you do get this nice outlet in the rear. And so it's pretty practical from that perspective. And taking a look at the Land Cruiser, because these are now built on the same wheelbase and everything, the cargo area is identical now. You even have a little outlet here in the back. And of course the raised load floor as well. Now one thing that's definitely unique with the 4Runner is the rear window, so you can raise and lower the rear glass via power function. It's a 4Runner thing. We also have an Sequoia, funny enough. The taillights here at the 4Runner, I think those also are a unique touch. And then again, all the badges are blacked out, which again just helps out with the looks of this new 4Runner quite a bit. Now the Land Cruiser can open the rear window. It's a popper right here. That'll open up the rear glass. So it's manual, which is weird because it's the more expensive vehicle. The taillights here also kind of have a cool design. I'm noticing the taillights are almost in the exact same place panel-wise. But anyways, different bumper setup. They both have receiver hitches, but the Land Cruiser has a little diaper bumper, is what everyone calls it. And the Land Cruiser is actually, because of the boxy design, it looks bigger even though they're about the same height. Now a big difference other than styling is going to be the interior. So you have soft touch here in the 4Runner, and then you've got these nice Softex seats, as you can see, perforated all down the center. Got vents in the back, some USB ports and everything. But the materials in the 4Runner, and we'll compare them to the Land Cruiser, they just don't feel quite as high quality. This is still nice stuff, but it's kind of firmer overall. And I noticed that with the 4Runner, the seating's not as comfortable. And popping into the Land Cruiser, again, you just get nicer materials throughout. You got soft touch up top, whereas the 4Runner is just plastic up top. And then with these seats, again, the trim's just a little bit nicer. And this first edition does have like real leather, but if you get premium, you still get really nice seats. And then you actually get your own climate zone in the rear. You've got USB ports, so a little bit more equipment. Spacing is going to be the same with both of them because they're on the same wheelbase, same chassis and all that. And that theme continues to the front of the 4Runner. You can see soft touch here, but then plastic up top. This does have memory seats. It's got blind spot monitoring. Payload is 895. This weighs about 5,600 pounds. And then again, the front seats are nice. They're just not quite as comfortable as the Land Cruiser seats. They do have power adjustments though, and you got your stability control and everything. Steering wheel is power adjustable too. And pop it on. Full digital gauge cluster. With the 4Runner, you've got adaptive cruise control. You've got controls for the center stack. We've got a 360 camera system. You'll notice that we actually only have single zone climate, no dual zone, but we do have heated and ventilated seats and a heated steering wheel. We also have a phone charging pad. And just pay attention to this whole center console stack, because this is a big change to the Land Cruiser. Now this only has a part-time four-wheel drive system. If you want full-time four-wheel drive with the 4Runner, you gotta go limited or platinum, which then doesn't give you the off-road tech. And that's another big distinction. You've got tow haul mode, drive mode, multi-terrain select, crawl control. You can see here with the rear locker for the 360 camera, trailer backup, center console. And again, notice the trim on top. And by the way, it's just a regular center console. They do have a camera rear view mirror, and they've got a center up top as well. This as equipped is almost 64 grand. Even the door handles in the Land Cruiser compared to the 4Runner, a little bit more premium looking. So with the door panel, again, you got nicer trim up top. Still have the same features of blind spot monitoring, memory seats. We actually have more payload, 1,100 pounds, but this does weigh 5,700 pounds, so it weighs 100 pounds more. Not a huge difference though. You can see the nice trim with the seats. Like I say, the seats are just more comfortable. Trailer brake controls integrated over here, still have power steering wheel. And then all the tech's gonna be the same, right? Digital gauge cluster and all that. Big difference, the trim on the steering wheel, again, more premium compared to the 4Runner. And then look at the controls, kind of has a more premium look. The infotainment system's actually smaller in the Land Cruiser, funny enough, but functionality is the same. You get dual zone climate here up front, so that's a nice add. Still have heated and ventilated seats. Still have multi-terrain select, crawl control, drive modes, all of that. But a big difference, this has a full-time four-wheel drive system with a center and a rear diff lock and a stabilizer bar disconnect. Now, the stabilizer bar disconnect is now optional in the Land Cruisers from what I have seen. Still have wireless phone charging pad. Just look at this whole center stack, kind of looks a little bit different. You have a cool box center console, so that's kind of another upgrade. And then nicer trim here, nicer trim on the dash, nicer trim up top. Still have a camera rear view mirror and then a panoramic sunroof. Now if you get a Land Cruiser Premium, sorry about that, my camera overheated, but anyways, Land Cruiser Premium is about 68K, so it's about 4 or 5 grand more, roughly, depending on how you equip the 4Runner. So which one should you go for? Well, when it comes to the 4Runner, it gives you more features for less money, so it is technically a better value. However, the Land Cruiser lets you have the full-time four-wheel drive system and all of the off-road kit. You can't get that with the 4Runner. You either get the full-time four-wheel drive system or you get the off-road packages with the 4Runner. And I think this is an important distinction. The full-time four-wheel drive system definitely adds quite a bit of versatility both on-road and off-road with the Land Cruiser. And so being able to combine both of them, I think that is a great value add. And then obviously, you know, looks and interior and all that. Do you want a slightly more upscale interior, or do you want, again, like I said earlier, the features? So it's going to depend on what you value more. Let me know which one you would pick.